What's up, guys? It's your boy H Dog, and I'm back here today to talk about the news that broke recently of a U.S. Senator by the name of Maggie Hassan sent a letter to the ESRB president Patricia Vance, calling on the ESRB to take steps in analyzing loot boxes in video games, and even had a separate Q&A session with the FTC, or the Federal Trade Commission, if anyone who don't know, um, about pretty much she was suggesting to him that if the ESRB fails to do anything, the government should get directly involved. Uh, in the letter, she had a preamble with the FTC nominees, and Hassan, she went on to praise the ESRB for the effectiveness over the years, but she noted that loot boxes, they've been relatively become a new trend, that they've gotten a lot of clout, and recently they have gained a lot of clout and gained a lot of traction, especially after last year. Uh, and that the ESRB needs to keep up the pace with today's trends. Kind of like how some old folks today, they don't know how to keep up with the times and keep up with the trends. It's kind of like that, but not all the way like that. It's just in a video game form. Uh, and she also discussed about how recently the World Health Organization classified a gaming disorder as a unique condition for people who actually are addicted to gaming. Now, me, I'm not addicted to gaming. Like, I can joke around and say, yeah, I'm addicted to gaming, but I'm not actually a gaming addict. Someone who's a gaming addict is someone who could, all right, say for example, someone could sit at home, play. Let me finally think of a good game. They could play Shadow of the Colossus, for example. Like, someone who plays that game for like 10 hours straight minimum. Like, say they just sit in their room, play the game 10 hours straight, don't move a muscle, and say they go get up and they collapse. That's something like that could, be a big problem. Like me myself, like, I don't spend that long playing a game. I may play a game for a little bit, then every now and then I take an occasional break or two, to unwind a little bit. Um, but she went on to write in her letter, while there's a robust debate over whether loot boxes should be considered gambling, the fact that they are both expensive habits and use psychological principles suggests loot boxes should be treated with scrutiny. Hell yes, they should. I mean, especially after Battlefront 2 and that went on, as well as Need for Speed Payback. I mean, that kind of flew under everybody's radar. But I really do think if Battlefront 2 didn't get enough traction, Need for Speed would have definitely taken its place. She went on to say that the rating system should denote when loot boxes are utilized in physical copies of games. Pretty much saying, kind of like how in today's world, if you go out and buy a pack of cigarettes, there may be a warning label right on the box saying this product contains nicotine and could be addictive. A warning label like that is what she's implying, which would be a good idea to parents who buy a game like GTA or Watch Dogs for their son or their daughter, if they have a daughter that likes playing video games. Um, she also called on the ESRB to review its rating practices with a specific eye towards the ethics and transparency of loot boxes, to collect and publish data on the use and prevalence of loot boxes, and to come up with a system of loot box related best practices for developers to give parents more control over what their children are playing and how, which is a good idea. Her questions echoed to the FTC nominees, and it concluded with the final question: Do you agree that children are being addicted to gaming, and activities like loot boxes that might make them more susceptible to addiction is a problem that merits our attention. And depending on how the ESRB responds to my inquiry, would the FTC be willing to look at loot boxes as an issue? If legislation does not move forward, it could have a dramatic effect on video games other than the ESRB, especially after recently with the news broke that Hawaii is they're they're pretty much in the process of showing 4 new bills they could try to pass that could ban loot boxes to minors for anyone under the age of 21. Games like, which pretty much is almost like in a game which would slap an adults only rating on it. Uh, Pretty much a game like Overwatch, Call of Duty, and especially Battlefront 2. I would go as far to include Need for Speed Payback in there as well. Even though some people may say it's not pay to win, but I highly disagree that game is pay to win. Um, and they went on to say that the bill would impose legal repercussions rather than industry fine. Of course, this would cost people like EA and Activision a ton of money, and hopefully, think about what they need to do, how they need to run their business in the future properly. Um, the new laws could lead into uncharted territory for microtransactions. We talked about that in greater depth last year, and our look at loot boxes and how loot boxes are bad, but why we're wary of legislation. Well, that's simple. It could be a slippery slope because the government could use that as an excuse to go after video games more frequently. Like, for example, the recent mass shooting that occurred in Florida. Like, and I'm not giving anybody any ideas, but they could easily look at a game like Call of Duty or Wolfenstein as scapegoats for games that have too much violence in them, as they would put it, and that they ought to be banned because they can encourage people to go out and kill people. Not my words, but I'm pretty sure an angry parent would say that. Um, at the bottom, they pretty much uh have the entire letter she sent to them, all in full detail. But the ESA and ESRB responded to Senator Hassan and told her that they greatly appreciate her confidence and support of the rating system. And for more than 20 years, we have learned the trust of parents around the country we have earned the trust of parents around the country by helping them make informed decisions about the games their kids play. As the industry evolves, so does our rating system, and we will continue to make enhancements to ensure parents continue to be well informed. We also continue to provide information about additional tools, parental control guides that help parents set spending and time limits to block potentially inappropriate games based on the ESRB assigned age rating system. Okay, first of all, if that was the case, why the fuck didn't you block or slap an adults only rating on Battlefront 2 or Need for Speed Payback or Shadow of War? Why didn't you do anything about that? Trick question. You were paid off underhandedly by EA, by Warner Brother Games. That's why I didn't say nothing, because all the money they handed you guys underneath the fucking table. And then you pretty much lied to the senator. You sound like freaking Bungie, who says, you know what, we're working on it, we're looking into it, and then then a month, 2 later, ain't shit done. It's still the same bullshit. But it's alright, because when one way or another, they need to do an actual investigation into this shit before the government kicks down the door. But with that being said, guys, what do you guys think about all this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the comments below. We can have a discussion and talk about it. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and tap the notification bell. That way you never miss a video. And until next time, guys, I'm out.